Cool, and we are live on another episode of the Bible Boys.
Because we are the Bible Boys.
And we're on about the Bible. That's what we're on about.
That's the main thing. That's the big thing.
And we're going to get into it. But, James, I want to know what's been going on with you, your week. How you been going?
It was my mum's birthday yesterday. And so we went to...
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
What's her name?
Alice.
Happy birthday, Alice.
Yes, Alice. And we went to Eastwood for dinner. And I tell you what, Pip, Eastwood, apart from the fact that many people are wearing masks, you would not believe that there's a pandemic that's going on right now. Everyone's packed to the rafters in certain restaurants and...
Clustered.
Yes, you might say clustered. Crawling over each other to get to their seats and...
Yeah.
Anyway, it was really interesting. We were sort of lining up outside a restaurant called Mr. Stone Pot. Have you been there before?
I can't say I have been to Mr. Stonepot.
I keep saying I need to take you to somewhere in Eastwood to get some good Asian cuisine.
I've been to, what's the yogurt place?
Yoga Berry?
Yeah.
That's not a restaurant.
Okay.
I don't know.
I mean,
yeah. Did you go recently or years ago?
Years ago.
Okay.
I went to Korean barbecue.
Oh yeah. Which one? Do you know?
There's two in the same block.
Oh.
What's that place?
Jonga?
Yeah, Jonga Jip.
Yeah,
there's two in the same block in
yeah,
Eastwood.
I think so. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Very strange.
Yes.
And one's a good one, one's the bad one.
Oh, there you go. I think I've heard that before. I don't know which one's which. Did you go to the good one?
I went to the good one.
Oh, good. Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
So we're waiting. We lined up at 6:50, and we didn't get in until 7:30. But 40 minutes, there's a lot of people walking by. And I saw 4 people I knew, and only one of them stopped to say hello.
Really?
So it got me thinking, Pip.
Got snubbed.
Yeah, which is
Thrice.
okay. You know, that's right. And I made eye contact with them as well. And I wanted to say hi.
Were you smiling when you made eye contact?
No, I was mid-sentence with my family.
So you were talking and it was more of a,
Yeah, that's right. You just
okay.
sort of glance.
Sure.
And so it got me thinking, what does that mean? Was I not inviting? Should I maybe have turned back and gone straight over to them? What's the etiquette? What's the rule here when you're out in public and you see someone you know? Do you just make a beeline for them, or do you just respect that? You know what? Maybe they don't want to talk and let them go by. What would you do?
A little wave.
Little wave?
Just a little wave. Hey. Remember, a wave to a stranger is better than no wave to a friend.
Yes. You know what?
I think that applies even when you're quite confident.
Yes.
That, you know that person. Because it's worse if they wave to you and they can tell you they've caught you off guard. You weren't going to wave. That's not good.
Yes.
That's not a situation we're in. You want to be, the wave provocateur.
You're right. That's right. It's on you in one sense.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes. I will say 3 of the 4 who I saw used to be my students. So maybe it's a bit different there as well. They used to be my students when I was their tutor at Intuition in Epping. So maybe it's a bit different when it's a teacher sort of thing.
Yeah.
If you saw your teacher, would you go over to them and say hello?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so maybe that changes.
Depends on the context. Maybe I'd be like, oh, hey, see you later. The quick, hi, bye. Kind
Yeah. The one guy who did come over, he came over and I think he was lining up a restaurant to go with his girlfriend. And he did the whole introduction to his girlfriend as well. I was like, hi, how you going? Nice to meet you. So that's pretty good.
That is good. So you got the girlfriend introduction as well.
Got the guy and the girlfriend. That's right.
That's the next level.
Yeah. I also heard a story. So my mother knows the owner of one of the nearby restaurants. And while we were lining up, because we were lining up for, a good half hour or so, my mum, my sister, and Viv, they sort of walked over to that restaurant. And my mum sort of said, hey, I'm not gonna go in and say hello. Go take a look. And my sister and Viv were going, oh, what's going on here? Anyway, they go over to the restaurant, they look in, and it's completely empty.
Right.
And then they come back and they tell my mum, and she goes, it's because the food's not good.
Really?
They're like, wasn't this your friend? And she says, yes. It's very sad.
Oh.
The food is not good.
Oh.
So that was...
That's awkward. That's like friendship kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to be like, hey, your haircut's not good. Or
Yes, that's
don't
right.
like that t-shirt.
But
Your business
that's
is
right.
not good. Your business is not a good one. That's a...
So she's tried going, you know. She's gotten my dad to go as well. And apparently when they go, they get extra servings of food. But Eastwood on Sunday night, hustle and bustle. This restaurant completely empty. That's not a good sign.
That's sad. Yeah, that's not a good sign. It's one thing to go over to someone's house and their cooking's not good.
Yes.
But if it's their if it's their livelihood, their business, that's, you know.
Yes.
Do you say something?
Yeah, that's right. What do you say at that
If
point?
I created some kind of a burger, Pips Burgers.
Yes.
All right, Pips Sips.
Yes.
Cocktails Burgers. You came along.
Yes.
You ordered yourself a little mojito.
Yeah.
And a double beef and cheese.
Why are there mojitos at this place?
Pips Sips.
Oh, Pip Sips. Right,
It's a cocktail.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Right?
Yeah, yes.
You had the mojito. Ugh, not good.
Yes.
You had the burger. Not good.
Yes.
Would you tell me?
I would.
Yeah.
Because I think that you'd be receptive and seek to make changes to the cooks and whoever's, mixing the drinks and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's because I know you. And I know some people would just be like, how could you? You're my friend. You can only say nice things.
Yeah.
Whereas for you, I feel like you'd be receptive.
Yeah, I feel like the closer... Like, I would have no problem if you came up to me and said, look, this mojito is a no-go. It's a no-go mojito.
Well, if you tell them, they'll go. That's right.
I would be receptive to that.
That's right. Maybe you should rebrand it, the no-go mojito.
The no-go mojito, because it's bad.
Yeah, that's right. If you want this limited edition.
Limited
because no one else wants it.
That's right.
Yeah, but I guess, it speaks to the person, right? I think I don't know if my mum feels comfortable enough to say to this person, yeah, it's just not working out for you.
Yeah. That's an awkward situation.
Yeah, a bit awkward. Anyway, that's what's been happening with me. What about you, Pip? What's been happening with you?
Well, lightning has struck twice because... Have I told you this story? Let me tell you the story in the form of a riddle.
That's right.
This?
So for our listeners to be able to...
This is the riddle.
Go.
What deflates you, the more deflated it gets?
What deflates you, the more deflated it gets? I don't know.
Car tire. Because my car tire deflated this week, and
second time.
it deflated me.
Oh,
as a person, as a human being.
Yes. You do seem a bit lower energy, Pip.
Not once, but twice. I told you about the story last week.
That's right.
We drove out of Bunnings.
Yes.
One wheel.
Yes.
Gone.
Yes.
Second wheel.
Yes.
Yesterday.
Same wheel?
Different wheel.
Wow.
2 different wheels.
Yes.
2 different nails.
Yes.
2 different locations within Carlingford.
Wow.
And
were you driving back from Bunnings?
no, Soph was at church and I wasn't with her.
Yeah.
And she was driving out of the car park.
Yeah.
And so probably she hit a nail in the car park.
Wow.
What's her nail doing in the car park? So, and then some people were there who were like into camping and they had like stuff to fix the tires.
Yeah.
So they did that. They fixed both our tires.
Yes.
But I'm not sure if it's a good fix. So
Yes.
I'm gonna
Is Soph okay?
she's alright.
Okay.
But we're gonna have to go to the tire place tomorrow and make sure they're patched up.
So what's going on with Carlingford? The land of nails.
Didn't know it was a nail farm.
Yeah, that's
Didn't
right.
know there's a nail factory nearby.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah, what's happening, man? And twice in 2 weeks. So
That's
there you
right.
go. Really, what you need is, sorry, this is really not a good thing, but that thing about 4 nails is forgiven.
Yes.
Like, because Jesus had, it was 3 nails. 3 nails plus 1 savior equals 4 given.
Yes.
Something like that. So you need 3 nails.
And then I'll be forgiven.
Yeah, it's forgiveness by nails in the tires alone.
What is your take on Christian t-shirts?
My take on Christian t-shirts?
Like that have those sorts of things.
Just
3
don't.
three nails,
That's
1
my
savior.
policy. Just don't.
Yeah, me too. I can't imagine the apostles walking around and it's like,
What would
hey, what's your
Jesus
name? I'm Paul. What's a t-shirt?
Jesus is my homeboy.
Yeah. It's got, don't you get it? 3 nails, 1 savior, forgiven.
Yeah.
It's like, I do get it, Paul, but,
Yeah.
not your best.
That's right.
Not your best.
Yeah, you could go for another strategy. Maybe go back to that epistle writing thing.
Yeah, that's right. That was working well.
That was working well for you. That's right.
Yeah.
There was one of the senior staff workers at the Christian group where I went to for uni, Sydney Uni. He had this whole thing on, all these campuses, they're always trying to do t-shirts or hoodies and
merch.
Merch. What if you made umbrellas or top hats or capes? It'd be different, and you wouldn't have 5, 6, 7, 8 hoodies. You'd have a top hat or you'd have a cape. And he was really keen on the cape idea because then he said, what you should do? Because if you just have the one mission, and the dates and a question on it, it's only useful for a season. But if you had a cape, you could put all of the year's events, all the camps, all the public meetings, all of the small group times, just put it all on the cape and you're bound to get eyes on that thing. What would you say to that, Pip?
Yeah, I would say it's true. It's true. You would get eyes, but is it the right kind of eyes? You get lots of raised eyebrows.
Yes. So eyes and eyebrows, no.
The eyes would be rolling.
Yes.
Lots of. Is that what you want? I don't know.
Yes, there you go. Yeah. But I hope that your car situation gets worked out.
Yeah. No, it should be fun. It should be fun.
Yes.
But yeah. Yes, I've also been reading the Bible.
Reading the Bible. What have you been reading?
I've got a few things I want to share today.
Yeah, please.
I've actually written some notes.
Oh,
more prepared.
This is very unusual for us. Listeners, you can always email us at thebibleboys@gmail.com. If you would like to give Pip some feedback on the fact that he has written notes for today's podcast, please email us in. Or email in. But Pip, you took some notes.
All right, so I want to share two things. All right. First thing is related to Q&As. Because as you know, Sophie and I have been doing Q&As on Monday nights.
Yes, and you're doing it again tonight.
We're doing it again tonight on the Q&A on Jesus' Resurrection on Facebook.
Yes. I thought Soph did a really good job last week.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good vibe. And so we're doing the same thing tonight. And I was thinking, what's a good etiquette rules to remember in Q&A? Like when we get a question on the podcast, you say, that's a great question. Thanks for sending in the question. You try to answer the question. And then afterwards you say, I hope that was helpful. If you want to follow up, feel free. Not so with Jesus. That is not how Jesus approaches the Q&A.
Where are we going?
Luke chapter 13.
Luke chapter 13.
The Tower of Siloam. Imagine this in a modern day Q&A format, alright? Watch this.
Alright, let's go.
Okay, so from verse 1. Now there were some present at that time who told Jesus about the Galileans whose blood Pilate had mixed with their sacrifices. Jesus answered, do you think that these Galileans were worse sinners than all the other Galileans because they suffered this way? So that's the question, right? Are these people worse? Jesus replied, verse 3, I tell you no. But unless you repent, you too will perish. Verse 4, all those 18 who died when the tower in Siloam fell on them. Do you think that they were more guilty than all the others living in Jerusalem? So, these people died in this way. Are they more sinful? Because, it's a good theological question, in my opinion.
Yes.
Jesus, he got straight to it. I tell you, no. But unless you repent, you too will all perish. So I'm wondering if I should try that tonight on the Q&A.
Yes.
Someone messages in and says, for example, Judas, what happened to him? I'll be like, don't worry about what happened to Judas, okay? Unless you repent, you also will perish.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So this, I call it the Siloam Switch.
The Siloam Switch.
All right, where basically someone asks a question and you switch it on them. You switch it.
Yes.
I've tried it out in other contexts.
Yes.
Right. So for example, Soph said to me this morning, she said, do you think, I was really tired. She's like, do you think the reason you're tired is because you stayed up late last night? And I said to her, no, but unless you get enough sleep, you too will be exhausted. And she said to me this afternoon, she said, she said, "Why are the dishes not done?" And I said, "Is it because I'm more lazy that the dishes are not done?" "No. I tell you, but unless you do the dishes, you will have to continue to suffer the unclean dishes."
The Siloam Switch.
The Siloam Switch. You switch it on them.
Oh my goodness. Oh wow.
What do you think of that?
I think that Jesus was our master teacher and storyteller and question answerer, and he knew when and where to speak in this way.
Yes.
And he didn't do the Siloam Switch at every time.
No, there were some times where he, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
so that's what I would say to that tip.
Yeah.
I think there's something very appropriate about the Siloam Switch when speaking about what you should be focusing on instead. But it could also be a deflection thing.
Yes.
Like washing dishes.
Yeah, well, I remember, because in 1 Corinthians 15,
Yes.
there was that passage, I think you preached on it, which was, but some of you will say, with what kind of bodies are we resurrected? You foolish person.
Yes.
Don't you know? That's,
right.
Paul did a kind of similar thing.
That's right.
Yes.
He took on the Siloam Switch.
He loved the Siloam Switch. But it makes me think of people like Philip Jensen during Q&A. Everyone's always like, oh, that's such a blunt answer. You know, should I do, what should I do if I'm struggling with sin and considering ministry or whatever? And it was like, stop, say no to sin. Say no to sin. It's like, whoa, okay. I was looking for a little bit of nuance.
Yes. I think there will be times when it's very appropriate. It's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, let me know how it goes tonight if you throw the Siloam Switch.
There's going to be, I won't switch
Do it once. Try it once.
I'll see if I can do it politely.
Yeah.
A polite Siloam Switch.
That's right. It's like, tell us a bit about what you think about the rest. Oh, get Soph to do the Siloam Switch.
She could do the Siloam Switch. I think the polite version of it is to say, I just want to push back on that question. I just want to, dig into that question a little bit. Anyway.
It's interesting in this passage where I think, because verse 1, people told Jesus about the Galileans whose blood Pilate had mixed with their sacrifice. So there would have been complete outrage over that. But I guess what Jesus is doing here is he's saying, you know what you should be outraged over, or you know what you should be focusing more on?
Your own sin.
Yeah. That's right. So I think there's a real aptness, obviously, as Jesus is our Lord, there's an aptness to him saying, this is what you should be more worried or outraged about.
Yeah. Can you think of any questions, this is too broad, but can you think of any questions that someone might, in our context at church, might be likely to ask that you would want to be like, Siloam Switch back on you?
Yeah. Well, maybe it's not the Siloam Switch, but there is a few, and I learned this from R.C. Sproul, the way that he would answer questions. Have you ever listened to some R.C. Sproul?
Not really, no.
R.C. Sproul, so, he's got 2 letters for his initials.
I get him confused with J.C. Ryle.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Because I know he has a book on, one of them has a book on holiness.
Yes, J.C. Ryle.
Yes.
That's right. But R.C. Sproul also has a book on holiness called The Holiness of God.
Well, that's just confusing, isn't it?
That's right. So maybe they should have just worked together.
Collabed.
Even though they were several decades apart in terms of living. But anyway.
Play on.
R.C. Sproul had this wonderful way of answering questions where he would flip things on you, but he did it with like this warm chuckle and a glint in his eye. So, like, I remember the first time listening to, so someone asked him a question about, what about the innocent native in Africa who's never heard about Jesus? What's God going to do with that person? And then he went, that's a wonderful question. And the innocent native in Africa has nothing to worry about. Yep, they don't need Jesus. They're fine. They're going to end up in heaven. Now, here's the question though. I'm not trying to do it. I can't do it in quite the same way. Because is there an innocent native in Africa? Is anyone innocent? For all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God.
Yeah.
So we can talk about hypotheticals.
Yeah.
The gospel talks about reality.
Yeah. That's a good switch. That's a good reshuffle.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe that was the tone that Jesus took.
Maybe he had a chuckle between verse 1 and 2.
Were those people more sinful?
Yeah, that's right.
No.
Yes.
I tell you, but unless you also repent.
Yes, that's it.
You will perish.
That's right. R.C. Sproul also had this other switch, which I just loved. It was so provocative because he was doing this whole talk on how we're justified through faith alone. And then he says, and now I'm going to say something. In the end, we're justified through works alone. And then he would chuckle, like, ha 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 ha. Now you might be wondering, R.C., what are you talking about? Haven't we spent this whole time talking about how we're justified through faith alone? What are you saying that we're justified through works alone? And then he would say, in essence, he said, yes, what are you actually having faith in? Is it your works? No. You're having faith in the works of Christ alone. It's his life, his death, his resurrection, his ascension, the finished works of Christ alone that justify you.
That's pretty powerful.
And it was one of those moments. Because his whole point was you can say faith, and we can think that it's actually our faith that saves us. But no, it's our trusting in the finished works of Christ alone that justify us.
Yeah.
So he had this way of just turning a thing and his own version of the Siloam Switch.
That's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Can you listen to R.C. Sproul? Yes. Can you listen to him on iTunes?
Yeah, you can. Renewing Your Mind.
Okay.
So
when was he alive? Is he still alive?
He passed away 3 years ago.
Oh, okay. So
2 years ago.
So recently.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
So in terms of it was interesting actually. A few years ago, Gospel Coalition did an article on where sort of in America just a resurgence of Reformed evangelical Christianity sort of came from, and they identify John Piper and R.C. Sproul as sort of two key individuals that God used to sort of spread just a return to and a resurgence of sort of Reformed evangelical Christianity, sort of in the line of going back to Martin Luther, John Calvin, Ulrich Zwingli, even Thomas Cranmer, like just going back to some core things there, because it's not mainstream Christianity in America.
Yep.
Anyway, sorry. That was a bit of a tangent.
No, nice.
But you could try that. It's the provocative, oh, yes, you could think this way, and then you switch it.
Yeah, okay. It's more of a swing.
Yes. Oh, the swing.
The Siloam swing.
The Sproul swing.
The Sproul swing.
That's right.
Yes, okay. I'll remember that. The other thing that I wanted to bring up. We've talked about heaven before, and we've talked about spirit, body stuff. Yes. Holy Saturday, where was Jesus?
Yes.
Body, spirit. Was reading this week, and it kind of made, I had to stop and reread it. Philippians chapter 1.
Yes.
Now, have we talked about this verse before? It's verses 21 to 24. You might have brought these up before, but it may have slipped my mind. But I want to bring them up.
We are the Bible boys. We've talked all about the Bible.
There's a chance we've talked about this before.
Very high chance.
But okay, so just listen to this, right? So Paul's, this is the to live is Christ, to die is gain bit, all right? And from verse 21. He says, for to live is Christ, and to die is gain. If I am to go on living in the body, this will mean fruitful labour for me. Yet what shall I choose? I do not know. I am torn between the two. I desire to depart and be with Christ, which is better by far, but it is more necessary for you that I remain in the body. Convinced of this, I know that I will remain and I will continue with all of you for your progress and joy in the faith, so that through my being with you, again, your boasting in Christ Jesus will abound on account of me. So, isn't it I just found it interesting. He's stay alive, do ministry, die, go to heaven. Two good options. Mm-hmm. The way he expresses it, it's better to... he wants to depart and be with Christ, but he also wants to remain in the body.
Yeah.
Does that hint at something in his mind about what's going to happen when he dies, and he's not going to remain in his body, he's going to...
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those passages where, if you go, well, what did Paul think would happen when he died? He thought he'd depart and be with Christ.
Mm.
What does that mean? Does it mean that he has a soul in the flesh and the soul rises up to heaven or something like that?
Mm.
Could be. Does it mean that there's some sense in which he, as soon as he dies, he knows that the next conscious experience he will have is when Jesus returns and there's a resurrection from the dead?
Mm.
Could be. Yeah, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I feel like he's setting it up as like there's almost like opportunity cost for him to remain in the body.
Yes.
He's missing out on time with, like, do you know what I mean? It's
Yes.
like two simultaneous things that could be happening. But you might be right. Like, you might be thinking, I like this is painful labor. If I died, my next conscious experience would be with Jesus. Yeah.
There's a contrast set up here, right? What's better for him and what's better for the Christians? Departing and being with Christ, he says, is better by far. I think better by far for him.
Yeah.
But he says, but is more necessary
That he stays with
that
him.
he stays. And so it's better for the Philippians. And
Yep.
I think by extension, the Christians whom he's serving,
Yep.
that he stays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is something I want to explore more in like years to come. Is the what is heaven?
Yeah.
You know, in terms of its experience. Is it a physical or is it spiritual? Like I know that like the resurrected body is a physical body, but what does that mean when you apply heaven to that? And particularly in between now and Christ's return, what does that mean? What does that look like? Anyway,
There you go.
questions. What have you been reading in the Bible?
Well, I am preaching this Sunday at church.
Nice.
I'm very excited for that. And we're going to be diving back into the book of Matthew.
Yes.
So I've been reading all around Matthew. In particular, I've been preparing for Matthew chapter 12, verses 1 to 21.
Okay.
And sort of the way in which I'm framing this sermon, I think, is to point out how verse 14, which I'll read now, but the Pharisees went out and plotted how they might kill Jesus. I actually think that this is a turning point in Matthew's gospel. Now, it's not unique that this idea of the Pharisees plotting how they might kill Jesus. It shows up in Mark, for example. But in Mark, the way that the gospel is structured is that the turning point is in the confession of Jesus being the Christ in Mark chapter 8. In Matthew's gospel, though, I think that this is where the turning point comes. It's sort of right before we get to the parables in Matthew 13. Also, in terms of sort of wider, long discourses of Jesus' teaching, it's sort of around the middle as well, because there are 5 bigger sections of Jesus' teaching, which emulates the 5 books of the Old Testament Torah, the law, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. But also, this is where, for the rest of the Gospel of Matthew, we see just once again like this continual antagonism and hints of his death that is going to be foreshadowed. And it just keeps coming up, which our series is going to be from Matthew 12 to 20, and it's going to be called Death and Glory. So, yeah, it's a turning point. And so I've been thinking as well, though, about just how expansive the vision of who Jesus is here in these 21 verses. So, Matthew 12, Jesus' disciples are going through a grain field and they're picking the heads of grain to eat them. And they're doing it on the Sabbath. And the Pharisees sort of criticize Jesus and the disciples. And then Jesus seeks to heal a man's withered hand. And they're going, are you trying to heal on the Sabbath? And sort of it culminates with Jesus saying that, there's sort of 2 culminations. One is that he says the Son of Man is the Lord of the Sabbath. And he also says it is lawful to do good on the Sabbath. And it got me thinking a huge amount about, well, actually, what is that significance of Jesus calling himself, because he's the Son of Man, the Lord of the Sabbath, and that it's lawful to do good on the Sabbath? And so I started looking at Old Testament how the Sabbath is portrayed and presented. And there's all these rich themes that are just wrapped up in the Sabbath. So Sabbath being the sign of the Mosaic covenant, but it was also the built into the rhythms, or meant to be built into the rhythms of Israel, so that they would remember that God is the God of their time, God is the God of their flourishing, God is the God of their refreshment, God is the God of their rest, God is the God of their justice, and also God is the God of their freedom. So you see all these different themes, right? Time, rest, refreshment, justice, freedom. And you see that actually Jesus, being the Lord of the Sabbath, is saying that he is the one who ultimately provides restoration, justice, freedom, rest, and is the Lord of our time. And bookended right before Matthew 12, at the end of Matthew 11, he says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." That's right before this section.
Yeah.
And then right after this, there's a part where Matthew is talking about how Jesus is fulfilling the prophet Isaiah's words in Isaiah 42. And so verses 17 to 21 here, he talks about how Jesus is the servant whom God has chosen, the one who will proclaim justice to the nations. And in him, verse 21, the nations will put their hope. So this idea of freedom, justice, rest, restoration, it's all found in Jesus. And that's sort of the big picture of the passage, which then made me go, wow, like, on one hand, the Pharisees are so angry with Jesus because he's making a claim to be the one who has possession of their Old Testament covenant. Being Lord of the Sabbath means he's the Lord of the Mosaic covenant, in essence, that he has the authority of God. But also, he's making a claim to what you put your hope in, where you will find rest, who dictates your time and your efforts. And that also makes sense of why they're trying to plot to kill him. So, yeah, these are just some things I've been thinking about. There's definitely more work I need to do in the passage, but I think I've been just really struck by, on one hand, you go, oh, the Pharisees, they're trying to kill Jesus. That seems so extreme. But I was just thinking about how, if you said to someone, your hobbies, your rest, your career, what you do with your time, you are not the Lord of all of that. Jesus is the Lord of all of that.
Yeah.
And there are so many people who say, I don't want him to be the Lord of that. And maybe it's not, I want to kill Jesus, but I want nothing of him in my life. I want to get rid of that. That's something of, it's not the ultimate sense, but it is something of what is behind this idea of trying to reject Jesus as the one who tells us what we can do with rest and time and justice and freedom and restoration. So anyway, yeah.
That's awesome. Verse 8, just hearing you talk about it and then just reflecting on verse 8, how, the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath. How big is that as a claim?
Yeah.
Just to think the Sabbath has this crucial role in the whole way that the Jewish people operate week to week.
Yes.
And so, based on it is based on the God resting on the seventh day, right?
Yes. Ceasing from creating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jesus is like, I'm Lord of this day.
Yeah.
This day, this holy day
Yes.
is my day.
Yes.
That's just such a huge claim.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right. And I think that, I'm just thinking about how to apply that in different contexts. But also, I think that it's interesting because I think our world and our context, we have all these different narratives that we're given on what you should be working towards. The rest of property and retirement with a healthy nest egg. The rest of your political party being in power. The rest of seeing your children flourish in the way that at that point, that's when I'll be at peace and that's where my rest will be found, or whatever it may be. We're fed different things about where we need to find rest. Jesus is saying, no, you come to me to find rest. I'm the one in whom the nations will put their hope, verse 21. And I think that's just such a powerful thing for us to grasp hold of. But it also just makes me think, on a very personal level, how do I think about time? You know what I mean? Like, do I think of time as, okay, so how much time am I going to give to God? Because if so, that's the wrong mindset. Jesus is the Lord of my time.
Yeah.
It's not how much time do I give to God.
Yeah.
All of it belongs to, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a different way of thinking. It's not a question of how much do I need to give. It's how much have I been given.
Yes. And what do I do with what has been given to me? Because all of our time, God at any moment could say, no, your time here is up.
Yeah.
Every day, every moment is a gift and an opportunity to do what is good. And to, as verse 7 says, to live a life of mercy. For that is what God desires. Yeah.
That's
Anyway,
awesome.
those are some thoughts that I've been percolating on.
That's great.
Where would you see this sort of touching the lives of some people from in the night church space? Maybe one example. Sorry, I know I'm putting you on the spot here.
No, I know. I don't know, like, I mean, I'm just trying to think.
That's right.
People who live for the weekend.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
I wonder if they live for the Sabbath. I wonder if there were people who were like, oh, you're just living for the Sabbath. I can't remember.
Yeah.
You're just living for the Sabbath. But, understanding that, to have a break from... Yeah, to have a rest from work and even like church ministry involvement, and to have a day off at home, or in your leisure time, that is still God time. That is still time in which you're in relationship with God.
Yeah.
And he is your king, and and it's not separate from your Christian life. Maybe.
That's interesting. So is it sort of that mindset of, if I'm resting, I also don't need to think about maybe even prayer, reading my Bible?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
I'd have to think more about how to apply that. But I am curious, like in verse 2, when the Pharisees say, you're doing what's unlawful on the Sabbath.
Yeah.
Are they actually doing what's unlawful? Is the picking of the grains unlawful? Or is that one of those things that they had added to the law? Is that like one of the extra... I don't know what you call it, but like one of the extra traditions that they've set up outside of God's law.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think, different things I've read have gone both ways.
Mm-hmm.
So one line is that, Jesus is saying, they are doing what is unlawful because the law wasn't meant to be like a master. The Sabbath is actually meant to serve. And they were hungry. And so, that shouldn't be seen as a burden on them. Rather... it is lawful to do good, and they're hungry, and so they're eating. So there's that one line. The other line is, one of the other main lines is, Jesus is appealing to what David did. He's appealing to the Old Testament. He's actually saying, can't you see that actually, no, they are doing what is right. And your Old Testament shows you this as well. So, it's interesting.
Which is interesting because, like, there's almost two different sets of laws going on there. There's, like, the statute law... and then there's the, precedent law.
Yes.
So David has set a particular precedent.
Yes.
Which my disciples are now following.
Yeah.
Isn't that a thing? I did legal studies. Isn't that a thing? Like, did you do legal studies?
No.
Isn't that a thing? Like you got
precedents. Precedents.
Common law, statute law. That kind of thing. Is that kind of like you got the statute law, the written law, and then you got the precedent? What did the heroes of the faith of old do?
Yes.
Is that a thing?
Yeah. You mean in the Bible? Is that
a thing? Like,
it seems like Jesus here is saying, didn't you see what David did? Yeah.
That's interesting to me.
Yeah, that is interesting.
That Jesus says, because David did it.
Yeah, and something greater than David, something greater than the temple is here, verse 6. Yeah. I think where I'm landing right now, and again, I'm going to do more work on this, is I think he's actually saying it is lawful because it seems like he's saying you don't understand. Because verse 3, haven't you read? So he's like, don't you? He's appealing to this. And then also verse 7, if you had known what these words mean, I desire mercy, not sacrifice, you would not have condemned the innocent. So I think he's actually making a claim that your thinking is wrong. I think that's where I'm at right now. So I think where I'm at is he's actually saying, no, what they're doing is right. It's not that they're just shirking the Sabbath law. But I think there is something here about the fact that Jesus, as the Son of Man, as the Lord of the Sabbath, he has the right to rightly interpret what the Sabbath is meant to be for them.
Yeah. Is it... another thought is like... you can be doing something and have different motives behind it, and it's what the motive is what counts. So you take a discipline like Bible reading, for example.
Yeah.
Bible reading you can do it as an act of like it's restriction. Like your mindset is, oh, I have to read my Bible. It's a restriction. It's a sacrifice. Or you can read your Bible from a freedom perspective. I have the freedom to read God's word. I love it. It's good. I'm cheerful, connecting with God. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And God desires one and not the other. God desires the right motive behind. Is there a similar thing going on where it's like, their keeping of the Sabbath is not necessarily bad in what they're doing. It's the reasons why they're doing what they're doing the Sabbath. The reasons why, like the motives behind what they're doing.
Well, I think that is very clear in Deuteronomy 15, Leviticus 25, that actually Sabbath was more than just stop doing things. It was actually about pausing and reflecting and I guess recognizing the God whom we... the God who it's because we're his followers, because we are his people, that we do this. As in, just pausing and doing nothing is not the point of this. It's what you do on the Sabbath, but it's not the purpose of the Sabbath. So one of the guys I'm reading, William Dumbrell, that's what he says. He says, if you just think of Sabbath as stopping, that is what is done, but that is not the purpose of what is done. The purpose of it actually is this idea of settling, finding your rest, and part of that is remembering why we do what we do with this. If that sort of makes sense.
Yeah.
So I guess the motive is what matters as well.
Yeah.
It's not just the action.
Yeah, that makes sense. When does the Sabbath first come up?
Well,
like
you might say Genesis 2. But, Exodus 20.
Okay.
Exodus 20 verse 11.
Because I'm just trying to think, what's the justification?
Verse 8 to 11.
Okay. So remember the Sabbath. 6 days you shall labor, do all your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work, neither you nor your son or daughter, nor your male or female servant, nor your animals, nor any foreigner residing in your towns. And this is interesting, the justification. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea and all that's in them, but he rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. It's like, to me, like if someone creates a law, it's like, this is why we're creating the law. Here, it's not like, this is what you're supposed to do on the Sabbath. Like, it doesn't really say you're supposed to reflect and meditate or whatever. It just says, like, because God did it.
Yeah.
Like, it's a holy day, you should do it as well. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It feels like, I don't know if it comes in later, but more the reasoning, like, what are you actually supposed to do on the Sabbath?
Well, yes, I think so. One example of this is the fact that, so there's Sabbath in the week, right? So 6 days and then seventh day, Saturday is your Sabbath. But there's also Sabbath years. So 6 years and then seventh year was meant to be a Sabbath year. And then you have 7 Sabbath years and then you have the year of Jubilee, which was meant to be the 50th year.
So did they have a whole year off every 7 years?
Well, it was essentially like that. Yeah, like a whole year off. But it was more for like, so what happens is you cancel the debts, you free slaves, you don't plow the land. And the idea is that God is actually providing for you, and you will be okay.
I wonder how that worked.
Well,
I mean, particularly with the debt thing. Imagine you've got a massive debt. You've taken a massive loan.
Yes.
And in 7th year, you're like, wouldn't the other person be like financially ruined if that was the case?
No, because all debts are cancelled. All debts are cancelled, so they wouldn't be financially ruined.
Yeah, but if I've let's say I have $100,000.
Yes.
And you ask for 80,000.
Yeah.
I give you 80. I'm left with 20.
Yes.
But I had some other things going on, other business plans and stuff that would require that money.
Yes.
And then the debt's cancelled. All of a sudden, I'm left with 20. You have 80. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I'm sure there's something there about, like, maybe you'd be restored back to the 100,000 or something like that.
Right, okay.
Yeah, maybe I'm not enough of an expert on it.
Yeah.
But I guess part of the idea there is that, it's remembering you're not your own. Remembering you do not actually have absolute control over your money and land and time. I read this interesting quote that said, "To the surrounding nations, Israel would have been a remarkably unproductive one."
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, so in a surrounding culture where everyone is working, once a week, the Israelites were to cease. And also 1 year out of every 7, they were to stop. Which actually shows something about productivity was not, and maximizing the amount of stuff you get was not the ultimate goal.
Worship. It was
worship. Yeah, that's right. But also trust. Because, and I'm here in Leviticus 25, verse 3, 6 years sow your fields, for 6 years prune your vineyards, gather their crops, but in the 7th year the land is to have a year of Sabbath rest, a Sabbath to the Lord. Do not sow your fields or prune your vineyards. Verse 5, the land is to have a year of rest. Verse 6, whatever the land yields during the Sabbath year will be food for you, for yourself, your male and female servants, the hired worker, and the temporary resident who lives among you, as well as for your livestock and the wild animals in your land. Whatever the land produces may be eaten. So the idea being, trust God, because it will produce things, and just eat what's there. And there's a sense in which I think the promise is you will have enough. You won't have as much, but you will have enough.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots there.
Yeah, far out. That's good. That's good. Well, all the best for Sunday.
Thank you. Pray for me.
I'm looking forward to it. So you're preaching at all the services?
Yeah, that's right. And I'm thinking about I'm thinking for my outline, I'll have the first part of my outline will be the same for everyone, working through the passage. Last part of my outline will be mostly blank, so I can apply it specifically to each congregation.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Pray for me.
Yeah.
Thanks, listeners, for listening along. And you can actually... Oh, no, we haven't really plugged church before on the podcast. We've tried to avoid crossing the streams.
Yeah. We'll keep it pure.
We'll keep it pure.
Unless we, in case we say something absolutely heinous. And
that's right.
Do we have any messages or anything?
No messages today.
Okay.
But listeners, you can follow us on Instagram at Bible_boys. With a Z. With a Z. That's right.
Yeah, I was like...
and then, or you can email us.
You can watch us on YouTube.
Oh, yes, that's right. I have noticed that our podcast views or listens have gone down a bit.
Have they?
Which I think might be because some people are watching us on YouTube.
Well, it's a massive wave we were riding. And every wave's got to come to an end and then you find another way to surf.
That's right.
But no, we've got 4 subscribers. On YouTube.
Oh, we have more than 4 views per video.
No, we do. We've got 20.
That's right.
Smash that like button.
That's right.
Smash that bell.
That's right. And I've also been posting on Instagram, so there's some books that I've liked reading. Yes.
And yes, you know how I floated that idea of making a video that covers the whole Bible? Yes. I got the trial version of good. Final Cut.
Yes.
And I'm tinkering.
Nice.
I'm in the tinkering phase. So if anything materializes, it might or might not, I'll post it.
That sounds good.
But yeah.
That sounds good. Hey, Pip, I have just a little fun thing to finish off on. What would be if you could only have one kind of burger for the rest of your life? Only one. What would it be? Or what would you want in it?
A I'd have their McDonald's triple cheeseburger.
Triple cheese.
That's my go-to at McDonald's.
Is it?
Triple cheeseburger meal.
Wow.
Large triple cheeseburger meal.
There you go. Is that you? So that's your default McDonald's order?
That's my default because it's because it's actually quite inexpensive as a
Yeah.
meal. But there's a lot of beef in there.
Yeah. My default McDonald's meal is a 10 chicken nugget, medium-sized meal with Coca-Cola for the drink, sweet and sour sauce, and a hamburger.
And a hamburger.
And a hamburger.
Chuck that on top. Okay.
No, not on... Well, yes. Like,
Yeah.
chuck it on top in terms of the order. But
Yeah.
I want...
How's this? All right.
Yeah,
All right.
go.
Little story. Last
go.
night
Yes.
after church, Soph and I went to Maccas.
Yeah. Which one? Thornley?
Parramatta.
Parramatta.
And I got the deal. Someone told me about it at church. Like you can get 18 nugs and 2 large chips for $7.
Yeah.
I was like, sweet.
Wow.
So I went there and I said, hey, could I have my Maccas? Because they're doing the 30 days
Yes,
deal.
yes,
So I was
yes.
like, can I have the deal of the day? Can I have those nugs and chips? And they're like, yeah, sure. I was like, sweet. And they're like, do you have the... And I ordered and I drove through. And when I went to pay,
Yeah.
they were like, oh, can you show me the code?
Yeah, on the app.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you had to do all that.
Yes.
So I was like, let me download it.
Yeah.
And I was there for like a minute.
Yeah,
and,
wow.
You know, I thought they'd be like, no worries, we'll just put it through.
No. They
Gotta
need it.
download
They
that
need the
app.
code.
They got to download that up.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I sat there like a loser.
Getting on the app store.
Getting on the App Store, downloading it,
Yes.
signing up.
That's it.
I had to get the girl to be like, to help me navigate.
Yeah,
And
wow.
be like, where is it?
Yes.
So,
There you go.
yes.
There you go. So burger, triple cheeseburger.
Triple
That'd be
cheeseburger.
the one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. There is this, I love this burger from this place called The
Pickle.
near Central Station.
Right.
Where the buns are just it's a Krispy Kreme donut sliced in half.
What?
And that's the buns.
Oh, that sounds
And
disgustingly
then you have
good.
like heaps of like meat and bacon and maple syrup on it and cheese. Yeah.
Dude, that
But
sounds
I
really
gotta say, like seriously, I'm starting to think through like meat consumption,
Yes.
and because I watched that David Attenborough
Yes.
documentary,
Yes.
I'm realizing more and more how like bad that is for the planet. Do you know what I mean?
Meat production is unsustainable in its current output.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm thinking I might try like a vegetarian or like a vegan, one of those patties that you can get
Yeah.
that are like.
Yes.
Might try one of those.
Yeah, try it.
You know.
Try it. There's a Chinese vegetarian restaurant at Carlingford Village.
Is
If you
there
wanna
really?
try there.
Okay.
And at Newtown, there's a lot of vegetarian restaurants.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yes.
Newtown?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that even some vegan restaurants as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Can
There you
hit 'em
go.
up.
Interesting.
Well, listeners, I hope that you've had fun. We certainly have, and
Yeah.
hope you have a great week.
Hope you have a great week, listeners. Hope you have a great week, Pip.
I hope you have a great week, James. Keen to hear your sermon on Sunday. You know what we should do?
What we should do?
You should post your sermon as an extras episode
Ooh.
of the Bible Boys.
Ooh,
Is
interesting.
that? I mean,
Yeah.
because the church doesn't own your sermon necessarily.
Yes.
Does it? I don't know.
I'll ask someone if that'd be. That's crossing the streams again.
It's crossing streams. Maybe you
right.
can do like a highlights package of your sermon.
That's
Because you're
right.
preaching to different audiences.
That's
Just get the highlights,
Yes.
put them all together.
Yes. Well, I mean, for the St. Paul's Instagram, like you were doing sermon snippets and stuff, yeah.
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 Maybe I'll do that.
Oh yeah.
Get some for the Bible Boys.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. That's it.
Thanks, listeners. Have a great week.